Hi, I'm Kathy with the Delafield Quilt Company. If you're new here, I love quilting and I share the projects I'm working on via this channel. This video is block 8 of Slow Summer Stars quilt series. All right, for block number 8, I show you a real quick way to make the Missouri Star quilt block. This is one of those popular quilt blocks that aren't difficult to make, but using the method I'm going to share with you is going to make it go even faster. So I hope that you like this quick way to make the Missouri Star quilt block. All right, let me start by showing you my test block here. I think you'll find this is a really fast, easy way to make the Missouri Star quilt block. And we make it fast because we are going to create 4 at a time flying geese, but flying geese using half square triangles to get these points here. And that really just makes it easy and speeds it up. And I also just put a video out on the channel on how to make these in any size in case you want to make those half square triangle flying geese again. All right, so basically on the test block, we have our flying geese here, and the center part is just a square and a square. So let's get started. So this is the fabric that I've chosen for this block. I've got the background fabric here as well. And the pieces that I need to cut for this are from fabric A, which is the dark blue, 2 4.5 inch squares and 2 3 7/8 inch squares, which will then subcut into 2 triangles. And then from fabric B, we're going to need 1 4 3/4 inch square and 2 4.5 inch squares. And from the background fabric, 1 7 1/4 inch square and 4 3.5 inch squares. All right, first let's start with fabric A. I'm going to cut the 2 4.5 inch squares first. And then my 2 3 7/8 inch squares. Then fabric B, I'll cut my 4 3/4 inch square. And then my 2 4.5 inch squares. And I've already cut my whites, my 7 1/4 inch and my 4 3.5 inch squares. All right, I'm going to bring back the 3 7/8 inch squares of fabric A. I'm just going to cut those quick diagonally so I get 2 triangles from each of those squares. All right, let's start with the flying geese using the half square triangles. So to do that, we're going to take our 2 4.5 inch squares from A and B. And then on the back of 2 of them, I'm going to draw a diagonal line just down the center. Essentially, I'm just using the 2 half square triangle method. And then I just lay these right sides together. I'm just going to put a pin to keep that in place. And same with the other one. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of the pencil line on both of these. Okay, now that I've got these sewn on both sides of the line, I'm just going to cut right on that pencil line and get a total of 4 half square triangles. And now I'm just going to press this to the dark side for each of these. Okay, now that I have these pressed, I just need to trim these down so they're 3 7/8 inch in size. And I'm going to use the guide on my ruler, the 45-degree mark. Just make sure that's on the diagonal seam so you've got it nice and straight. I'm going to get 2 clean sides. And I'm going to turn it around. Again, use that mark on that seam. And I'm going to cut these down then to 3 7/8 inch. And I'm going to repeat that on the other 3. Okay, now that I have these all trimmed up, I'm going to draw another diagonal line, and it's going to cross over the seam allowance. You're just going to draw it from one corner to the next. I'm going to do that on each of these half square triangles. Okay, now that I have these all drawn, I'm going to bring back our 7 1/4 inch square. And you do want to know which color you want to be in the middle. So these 2 lighter ones here. If you wanted the other 2, it doesn't matter how you place these, so you just want to make sure you know which one you want in the middle. So I want the lighter to be the middle one. And so both of the lights then actually need to face each other on the back of the 7 1/4 inch square. And you're just going to line up one on one corner and one on another, and just make sure your pencil line is lined up. Then we're just going to put a few pins in here just to keep this in place. And now I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of the pencil line. Okay, I've got that sewn 1/4 inch on both sides of the line. And now I'm just going to cut right on the line. Okay, and then I'm going to press these towards the triangles. All right, now that I've got these pressed, I'm going to bring back these last 2 squares. And again, I want to make sure my light fabric is going to be lined up towards the bottom here between these 2 other light ones. If I didn't do that, then it wouldn't come out right for the block. So again, just line up that diagonal line, put a pin to keep it in place, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of the pencil line. Okay, I've got these sewn now, and again, I'm just going to cut right on that pencil line. And when I'm done cutting, we are going to have 4 flying geese using half square triangles. And there you can see how that's going to look. So I'm going to press these again towards the triangle, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now these, when they're finished, should measure 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And you shouldn't have to trim too much if your seams are correct and you're using that scant 1/4 inch seam. Okay, we'll set these aside, and let's move on to the square and square. So we're going to bring back our triangles that we cut earlier from fabric A and our square from fabric B. And I'm just going to find the center point. I'm actually going to go ahead and find the center point on all 4 sides of the fabric A square. And then I'm going to find the center point on the long edge of these triangles, and I'm just doing that by folding that in half and just finger pressing. Okay, and now I just need to line up the middle points on these with the middle point on the square. And I'm going to sew 1/4 inch. I'm probably going to do 2 sides first, and then I'm going to press them, and then I'm going to sew the other 2 sides on as well. Okay, I've got 2 of my sides sewn on, and I just pressed the seams towards the triangle, and then I'm going to take my last 2 triangles, line them up in the center, and do the same thing. Okay, I've got the square and the square done, and I'm just trimming off the dog ears. And this block should be 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches square. And now we can put the rest of it together. So we're going to take our flying geese from earlier, put one of those on each side, and then our 3.5 inch squares from the background fabric go in each corner. And then I am just going to sew this together, and I'm just going to do it in rows, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's all done. And there's the finished Missouri Star Quilt Block. I hope that you liked this video and enjoyed this fast way to make the Missouri Star Quilt Block using the half square triangle 4 at a time flying geese method. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and visit us at DelfieldQuiltCo.com. Have a great day.